an artist. I think I am. I know I am. At least I feel like the only way to make sense of being human is to be an artist. And so it's been really weird and painful to be an artist, to be myself as an artist, I think, because I resist, I scare myself. So my process is very much related to my fear of myself. Right now I can even feel my cheeks going numb, and all of my attention is going to my mouth as if I'm confessing something that's gonna murder me, or I've already got the death sentence. So feelings, now my crown chakra literally feels like, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep, I guess it's called yogaing into this confession of my artist's way process. So imagine you go out and you please all of your senses, and you eat and drink everything that you care to, whether or not it's good for your body. And you do it until you pass out, until you're unconscious. And then you wake up and you're just sick and you're like, what happened? And then all you can do, the only thing left to do is to purge, and then you're empty and you have to fall back over. Have you ever been sick like that in your life? Have you ever kind of just done it to yourself? Have you ever eaten like that much candy after Halloween? Have you ever drank that much and then you were wasted and hungover or blacked out? Have you ever had that experience where you did it to yourself, whether you intended this consequence of it happening, but you did it to yourself? And even though you know better, that doesn't change the fact that it's happening. And so, so for me, the process really begins when I wake up the next day, proverbially speaking, whether it's next year or next 10 years later, type of a period of intoxication of life. And as an artist, I experience myself taking everything that doesn't, I guess at that moment, belong to me, and expelling it from my body, and expelling it from my mind, expelling it from my heart, basically expelling it from any of my energy centers that want to release it. And it can come through, there's a slow drip process where it comes out and it leaks out of me in my mind in the way that I work my daily job, in the way that I interact or communicate with people. That's one way that the creativity expresses itself. It also seems to express itself emotionally, depending on how open or how I am about, whatever it is that just seems to be cooking itself, really. I don't necessarily feel like my mind even is just in control of my process. Anyways, so imagine waking up alone, just with the truth, feeling like the only thing left to do is to go to the bathroom. And I usually am still in a state of complete denial that there's art to be done right now. Even right now, as I express myself, which to me, I'm beginning in this very present moment to embrace and accept that this is art. This is, to be alive is art, whether it's doing push-ups. I didn't even know I could. And, but that's part of it, is I just have to accept that to be alive is an art, a process of art for me. And that I have been trained for a very long time to keep a lot of whatever I collect inside of me, and to not express it, to to not play with it, to not mold it in my own hands. It's kind of like I'm just supposed to be quiet. I'm supposed to look a certain way. I'm supposed to hold my body in only a few forms. So my art begins with some illness and aches and pains. I often feel like I'm gonna cry, that I can't explain why I feel the way I feel. So I'm like, then layer on top of that all of the self-doubt and the self-consciousness, and just feeling like I don't even know where this expression belongs. So, enter a period of years of being like, well, I need to go to therapy. Well, I need to go to a spiritual retreat. Oh, now I need to go and get massaged all the time. Now I need to go to a hot bathhouse. And that's literally the last place that I just went this last weekend, prior to realizing that I had 5 songs that just needed to happen, needed to be released. So pause in this spiraling and swirling of the story of my process. But what was I doing when I wasn't writing songs? I was working my job, keeping my apartment clean, doing yoga, playing video games with my boyfriend at night, being a good girl, being a good human, cooking dinner, going grocery shopping, paying my bills, fixing my air conditioner, being responsible, being a law-abiding citizen. I even went to immigration, I'm doing my paperwork. Meanwhile, I didn't even hear the voice inside of me say in English, which is my operating system, hey, you're gonna have to not be preoccupied with these other things, and you're gonna need to be kind of blank for a moment so you can receive this information to, let a song happen. So as a philosopher also, it can be asked, or it can be posed, who says there's a song until after the pain? Maybe art is a spiritual gift given to people of any kind, in whatever form that it comes through you. Maybe art is your spirit's gift of purifying your soul. Maybe when it doesn't happen on purpose, with the attention to make it happen, which is so masculine. Maybe in this feminine, natural, where you would see a child and go, oh, they're talented, it's a natural gift. Maybe that's actually just the excretion of processing this worldly experience in a very healthy way. Maybe natural talent, as opposed to something natural or not, but that's practiced into a proficient skill, a master skill even. Suppose all of our natural inclinations, whether we are naturally an athlete, whether we're naturally an artist, whether we're naturally this or that, whether we're natural, whatever that physical expression comes in the form of, maybe that is just the way we poop out other energies, exit other energies that we can't see. It's not the food we eat, but it's all of the thought and all of the emotion that we do in our world. I'm bumping up against a lot of reality right now. Even just using language is taking it in through this big, my fisherman net, and I'm bringing it in. And how else do you clean that net? You don't just take the fish out, but you got to rinse it with the water and make sure all the cords are, intact, right? Wash off any of the grimy residue that accumulates over the months of use of reeling in the daily fish. But also, what about the daily thoughts? What about the daily feelings, or the stresses, or the minor wears and tears of using the body to be here, right? And I'm getting spiritual on this, getting energetic, talking in my little southern, little twangy twang voice. I'm gonna go down. So as I roll around here like a baby, as I should be, allowing my truth to come through me. So yeah, process. I've gotten into the point where I have to kind of behold my shit. But I've noticed for myself that I've bumped up against this question: do I want to art And do I want to take my art and start just basically appropriating it as my culture and then selling it? Do I want to put that pressure on myself then to take something that naturally happens as a byproduct of being in the world and kind of put the pressure on it to give that? I don't really know. I don't know, and I think that that's becoming safe for me, because I do know that there's other things I can do that are my job. And in the beginning, I kind of judged it, like swinging the pendulum from one end to the other. Let's do this, my arms. I went from being in a very Western, like, you gotta, get a very high authority, really smart job to really show that you made something of your life and you're a success because you're in the highest role that you could give yourself, a leader or whatever, manager, director, moving up in the ranks of a big organization. Very important. But there's a lot of opportunity for that everywhere in our lives. And there's only a few places in physical reality where it's needed. The rest of what's needed is honest to God, good people doing the work. And I realized that I have allowed myself to be in pain just simply by thinking that the work that I'm doing, as simple and basic as it is, isn't worthy or isn't good enough. And actually, when I think about it, I feel my dignity just being like, I'm proud of what I do. I can do it very well. I get the work done. It's doing very important daily work in the world. And the effects of what I do will be for future generations to come. And that's kind of enough when it comes down to earning money regularly in order just to, provide for a stable container and a stable environment for myself. And so as I've had a stable environment for myself that I keep producing over and over and over through respecting the simple work that I do, suddenly this inner artist is talking to me, speaking my language, and I'm listening. But it's not like she's speaking to me like an adult who can explain what's going on. Just like a baby, it's mostly coming through in cries right now. So that's where I'm at right now in my process of being an artist. My process of arting is very much like there's a baby crying. I've tried feeding it. I've tried Netflixing her. I've tried boyfriending her. I've tried cleaning her cradle. She's still really fucking fussy. So I put her in the bathhouse, and when there's nowhere else to turn, there's no distraction for her mind, there's no TV show, there's no girlfriends. When I just look at her and hold her naked in the bathhouse, I was alone. It was just really cool. And I turned the lights out, or rather the lights were already off. So it was kind of awkward because, I'm like in this public, like I'm in a bath spa. Why are the lights out? I think it's actually quite appropriate. But I find that right now in my art process, the only thing that really gets it to flow through me is in waking up to the pain of withholding all of this naturalness that doesn't know where it's going, just knows it's right here, and all it can do is cry to release. I'm gonna sit with this shit. And I can feel even my mother self willing and wishing it were different. Willing and wishing that the art that this baby is making, what looked good, could be sold for something worth something to somebody else. Because it's like I'm sitting here with the truth of art happening in real trueness in nature, and literally being a mean witch to it, just going, ugh. And I think that is something that I've had to endure enough and realize that to keep trying to shut up this artist is what makes it cry. And so the next time I even crack it open and look at it and go, how's it going? Are you ready to do something nice? Then it just is going to cry again and again and again, and it hurts my arms. And it hurts my heart, and it hurts my brain, and it embarrasses me. And I feel my shame in wanting to blame someone else or anything else. And I think the truth is that I'm afraid to admit that I am that baby. And I don't know how to be the artist that I tell myself, or I think, or the world tells me to think that I should be for this world. Like as a child, we're growing up, what do you want to be when you grow up? You got your shit together, little Jimmy, little Jane, like, what do you want to be? Quick, you're 5 years old. What do you want to be? Okay, you're 7. Okay, now you can do math. Okay, you think you can do this? It's like, give me a minute to kind of just like be. I think we be just fine naturally. I know I can be myself just fine. After all, there was more than enough stability and more than enough love, and I think that's part of it, is we just don't need more. We just need to be left alone then. When there's just enough, there isn't more to fill in the gaps. It's allowing gaps, and I think that's what I continue to not do. Is I still live and construct my lifestyle, my 24-hour blocks, filled with tasks and should-dos and normalcies and conventions. Even, I don't know, just doing the things that I'm interested in that's already done. And then when I'm done and I'm having fun giving these experiences to myself and pleasuring. And I sit here and I go, I have my paints on the table. I'm not inspired to paint. And I know that every time in the past, when I've ever sat in a room long enough without quickly moving to fill myself with something, the longer I just sit and even just turn some music on, but I'm not watching a music video, right? Or I'm not, sweeping the floor, but I just sit still. Even when I go to a concert and I realize I'm listening to music and I'm just sitting, I want to dance, I want to do something, and I don't give that to myself when I don't sit with myself. So artists, who are you? Who are you? So what I do is I recognize that I don't know. I'm doing the best I can. I go to the bathhouse, I cry until literally I'm too tired to cry. And many, many thoughts of, okay, I hope that my body relaxes, and then I'll just go home. My body hasn't been relaxing. I continue to cry. I continue to feel sick, dehydrated, forlorn, spiritually depressed. And then what I have found has occurred is if I just stay there with my helplessness, really, my weakness, is I'll take my phone, I just push the record button, I bow my head, my feet are going to sleep a little bit, so let's move. And I just let myself sing. Lullabies, I sing, and I hear myself then and feel loved. There's pauses, and then another song will come. And I'll do it until I literally feel relaxed. And so this last time, 5 songs came out of me, and then I was really, felt complete. One of the songs particularly inspired me, so I inspire myself, right? Like I felt my true inspiration. I touched my well of inner motivation that comes from nowhere else. Sorry, can't get me to do it, but I can get me to do it. And then I came home. The next day and a half, spent a little bit of time in between things, and now I had something some clay to mold. And so I took my recording, I listened to it, listen to a couple of the lines, pause it, and then type out the lyrics. That's my process. And then I transcribed the songs that came out, and I can see the words, I can see the structure that came and just naturally. So I'm a songwriter. And that's how I poop. That's how I art. And maybe if you are too, or maybe if you're someone who suppresses your creativity similar to me, or you relate to this, then I can encourage you to go ahead and kind of just try that. Try singing straight to your pains. Just push record. You're not going to give it to anybody. I don't give any of those recordings to anybody. They're for me. These are your gifts. And, like one man's shit is another man's treasure type of stuff. Ultimately, you can decide what to do with that. I know that out of those 5 songs that came through me, some of them I get to keep that recording. So, like I have found songs that I wrote and sung years ago, 10 years ago. No one has heard them. And now, in this present day, it's like now I look back and I still have those recordings, those like the sperm, right? And now I can see the gift in them and go, now I'm confident where I'm at now as the mother then to nurture that song that I wrote when I was a lot younger and to nurture that into something that I do want to share with other people. One of the songs that I wrote 2 days, like over this weekend, one of them I feel confident to nurture now. But I guarantee you those other 4 songs, I'm not going to delete them. But I don't feel confident that those songs are right for right now to be shared, but they're mine and I'm going to keep them. So keep your manure. You never know when it's time to fertilize a flower, right? Or some seeds that you're going to plant. And you can plant them for yourself and you can decorate your house, your own life with your own love. Because after all, this is yours. And I think that's the essence of what I have to share right now is make love with your own shit and don't get rid of it, but don't suppress it either.